Well, hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about arranging songs for fingerstyle guitar. This is something I love to do, and I've had a lot of questions about how I go about it. So in this video I'm going to talk about kind of how to select good material for arranging for fingerstyle guitar, whether it be a cover song or an original piece of music, you know, the kind of songs that work best. I'm going to talk about the tools we have at our disposal as solo guitarists and how to create a really nice arrangement with, you know, a lot of nice little details and embellishments. And I'm going to talk about my personal process, how I go about arranging songs, how much time it takes, the kind of refining that goes on. And now we're going to talk about how to get a piece to performance level, how to get to the point where you can walk on stage or sit in front of a camera and play a piece and perform it confidently without making mistakes. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's jump into it now. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to ring the bell notification if you like to be notified when I post new videos. So first up, we'll talk about how to select a song. Now, I feel that melodic songs generally work the best for creating an instrumental, you know, guitar piece, because the melody really tells the story. There are some great songs that are more lyric-based and not as melodic, and I always struggle creating an interesting arrangement with those because we just don't have as much to work with. You know, in music we have melody, harmony, and rhythm, and you know, lyric and other things, of course. But working with the music itself, with a solo guitar arrangement, I think we want to make the melody really speak clearly. We want to make the chords really move beautifully, and we want to have a good groove and a good rhythm. So generally speaking, I think a song with a great melody and a great chord progression is a good place to start. And if you listen to you know, any music by the Beatles or Stevie Wonder, people like that, there's you know, every one of their songs have a great melody and a great chord progression. And of course, you know, a lot of the more popular songs already have been arranged for guitar. And whenever I'm selecting a piece to arrange, you know, I'll usually go online and see what other people are doing and maybe pick a different key if I want to try a bit of a different approach. But, you know, these principles I think can apply to any style of music, whether it's jazz or pop music or folk music or country music. The melody really tells the story. So that would be my first criteria that I look for when selecting a song, is that does it have a good melody? So the second thing I usually try to identify pretty early on is what key I'd like to play the song in. So I think when we're getting ready to arrange a song, we want to learn the song inside out. So we want to learn it in a few different keys. We want to learn the words. We want to understand what the song is about, you know, what the lyrics really mean, and what the song means to people. You know, there's a lot of songs out there that are big hit songs to people, and they have a special, you know, people have a special connection to that song. So you want to kind of keep that in mind, I think, when creating an arrangement, to make sure you respect some of the most important elements of the song. So I think learning the song back to front is important, and then selecting the right key. I'll usually kind of go, you know, through G and C, D, E, B, A, kind of the keys on the guitar that have open strings, because I love to let open strings ring out. You know, when I'm crafting a guitar arrangement, I think that's a really beautiful sound with the acoustic guitar. If we select a key like B flat or E flat, we just don't have as many open strings. We do have a few. But yeah, that's usually a good starting place for me, is I'll kind of go, will it work in G, will it work in C, will it work in D, will it work in A, will it work in E? Sometimes I'll use a capo if I feel like maybe I want to play the song in the same key as the original recording. For example, when I recorded my arrangement for Yesterday by the Beatles, they play the song in an open tuning, and I don't really like to play with open tunings, because when I'm on stage, you know, I just like to go one song into the other without changing tunings. So I decided to capo on the first fret and play the song in the key of F major, which is in, but with an open E position. etc. So yeah, selecting the right key I think is really important. And the next thing is just to roughly map out the song structure. So this is a big thing. A lot of people will play me original songs, an idea they have for a fingerstyle guitar song, and they'll say, I don't know where to go next. And I'll say, well, how many sections do you have? And they say, I have 2 sections. And I'll say, well, you probably just need maybe 1 section and maybe like an intro and outro, and that's usually enough. Like a lot of instrumental songs, have A, B, C, maybe 3 sections. And I think you don't need as many moving parts as you might think. I think that's often, a feeling someone has when composing a piece, is they need all these different sections to make it work. And generally, I think, repetition is our friend. And if we have a good melody and a good strong part, we want to repeat it. And we have different tools to make it more interesting as we repeat it. We can change the octave, we can play it in harmonics, different things. But kind of mapping out the rough structure of a song, I think, is an important step pretty early on. We'll take a Beatles song, for example. Usually those are pretty condensed arrangements, like Yesterday and All My Loving, which I just did an arrangement for. Those are like 2 to 3 minute songs. So I chose to arrange those pretty true to the original, structure-wise. So you'll literally just learn the song and kind of it goes verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out, whatever the structure may be, and you think, how can I create an interesting story using just the guitar? So if we're just repeating a verse, since we don't have lyrics to work with, often I'll play the verse in a different, register. I'll play it maybe up an octave, or I'll do a key change, which often happens. When I did an arrangement of All My Loving recently, I didn't use the capo. I started off the arrangement with there's the melody played in the low strings. And then we go higher. Chorus. And a little turnaround. And at this point, I was like, well, what can I do now? I've already played it, the verse with a low melody, and I've played it with a higher melody. So maybe I could try modulation. That works really well. So now I'm in a totally different key. So I went from the key of G to the key of D, and then I played the chorus in the key of D, and end the song, and that's just a nice little concise arrangement. With Yesterday, I played, most of the song, I played it in the lower octave, then I played it in a higher octave, I played the bridge in a lower octave and the bridge in a higher octave. So every time we repeat a section, it's nice to kind of bring in some new information somehow. And so we can use harmonics to do that, which is a nice thing. Like in Across the Universe, we're sticking with Beatles songs here. Here's the intro. The first verse. Stay in that register. The second verse, some harmonics. It keeps going on. You can check out my arrangement of that. It's posted on YouTube. But I'm always looking for ways to use harmonics, because harmonics are just a beautiful sound on the guitar. We have a 12th fret harmonic here. We have a 7th fret harmonic. And those are the go-to places for me. We also have a 5th fret harmonic, which is nice if we're playing a G in the bass. I often do that. Little chord cluster. But finding ways to play the melody of a song using harmonics can be a nice way to just kind of put a little spice and a little sparkle in there. Another technique is using open strings to play a melody. That is kind of nicer than... It's a little bit different, but using open strings ringing out against one another. Is a really nice way to add some kind of connecting pedal tones to a piece. So let's talk about the process now. So my process usually involves, first of all, getting a vision for the arrangement. So selecting a song and imagining what I could do with it. And just kind of thinking about that, mulling over. Then it involves learning the song back to front, inside out. I'll learn how to sing it. I'll learn it in a few different keys, and I'll just really get inside it and get super comfortable with it. And I'll kind of play around with playing the melody in a few different places and figure out how I might want to do that. Figure out the key I want to play it in. Figure out the rough outline of the arrangement. Maybe it's an A-A-B-A type structure. I love arranging songs with that kind of structure. It's a lot of jazz standards follow that structure. I love writing songs with that structure too. Maybe it has an improvised section in the middle. Maybe there's going to be a modulation in there. And just figure out the rough structure. And then the next step is working out all the little details. And the way I like to do that is using software called Guitar Pro. Guitar Pro is a tablature notation software, and there are free options available. Guitar Pro isn't very expensive, but basically the idea is you can type in the notation. You can transcribe a song, even if it's just a rough transcription, and kind of map it out. I'll transcribe the verse, and then transcribe the chorus, and then I'll repeat those sections and figure out how to make them different. And I'll just use the notation software to put in some additional details. And I don't always do this when I'm creating an arrangement, but I often do. And if I arrange a song like Misty, where there's that walking bass line's going crazy there, I didn't just sit there and figure that out. I actually used the software to create that. So what I did was I type in the melody into the software with the metronome going, and I type in the melody, and then I type in some crazy bass line that followed the chords, and I type in a few chords, and then I'd figure out if it was humanly possible to play them together. And so just take it one bar at a time and kind of think, okay, I'm in this position. How can I play the melody and the bass line together? So the software is very useful for figuring out all the details of an arrangement like that. So that's kind of how it goes for me. Once I have most of the details figured out, then I play it over and over and over and over again. There's just so much repetition involved, and ideally I'll play it for a few hours a day, over the course of, a week or so. And anyone who's in the house with me will hear the same song being played over and over and over and over again to the point of driving them crazy. And it's all it's all we can think about when I'm in the process of creating an arrangement usually. And with regard to getting on stage to perform an arrangement, or pressing the red button on the camera or on the recording software and starting to record an arrangement, it's totally normal and expected to butcher it the first time you play it or perform it. In fact, I always feel that I need to play a piece on stage 6 or 7 times before I can even expect to go on stage and play it without a mistake. So there's usually some little error in there, even if it's just an error I hear. But maybe I'll mess up the structure a little bit or something like that. Maybe I'll play it a little bit too fast, or I'll just forget some little detail. But after I've played it on stage a good amount of times, or after I've done 5 or 6 takes of the recording, that's usually when I have kind of a pretty good handle on it. And once I've played it on stage a few times, it's pretty much in my repertoire for good, and I'll just brush up on it occasionally. Playing gigs as a guitarist and performing and even creating videos on social media and whatnot, it's nice to have a repertoire of great songs that people know. It's nice to have a repertoire of original music too, of course. And the same principles that apply to arranging cover songs can be applied to your original music. You want to have an arrangement that tells a story, and generally speaking, the greatest songs of all time are really well written and well crafted. So creating arrangements for those songs can give us kind of a benchmark of where we want our original material to be. So it's totally normal for an arrangement to take a good long time to be fully formed, and it really takes some practice to get good at arranging. If I'm recording an arrangement for the first time, generally I'll play 6 or 8 takes, maybe 10 or 12 takes, maybe 14 takes, we'll see. It's interesting recording a lot of videos these days, because I find if it's an arranged exact piece of music, then it gets better every time I do it. So by take 12, I usually have all the details figured out, and it's pretty much a good take. But if there's an improvised section where I'm playing a solo, like I'm overdubbing an electric guitar solo or something, it's almost always the second or third take that is the best. Sometimes I'll do a lot of takes. Like if I'm just improvising a guitar solo, I'll have fun. I'll just keep pressing the record button. I'll do 30 takes. And then the next day I'll listen back and I'll just go through every one of them, and I'll be like, oh, the best one by far is take 2. That happens so often. But if it's an arranged, an exact arrangement, then usually I'll keep playing it until I feel like I have all the details. And that's how it goes for me. And with regard to how long it takes to take a song from not knowing it to having it arranged, I think, learning the song and just getting comfortable with the song, memorizing it, that can take a week maybe. And then figuring out how to approach, your arrangement can take about a week. And then polishing up the arrangement, practicing it and getting really comfortable with it can take another week. So that's kind of just a general rule of thumb of how long something takes me. I'm getting ready to create some Christmas arrangements at the moment, and I am familiar with the songs I'm arranging, so I already know them. I've heard them a gazillion times, and it's a process of listening to the different versions of the songs, figuring out how the melody and chord progression work together, and then figuring out how to play it in multiple keys, figuring out my favorite key to play it in, and then just playing it over and over and over and refining the arrangement, figuring out all the details. And it's fun. It's fun to do, and it's fun to share the music with people. And I think the world needs great arrangements of great songs. So I wanted to make this video just to share a little bit of my process and how I go about it. There's a lot of great people out there creating really, really nice arrangements. One of my favorite acoustic guitarists right now is Kent Nishimura, so definitely check out his YouTube channel. He is a brilliant arranger, and yeah, I'm posting new arrangements pretty regularly also. So I hope you found this video interesting and helpful. I have a playlist of fingerstyle acoustic guitar instrumental arrangements that you can go through, and I think that, now that you know how I approach it, you might hear some different details in the arrangement. So I encourage you to check out that playlist and leave me a comment that says melody, harmony, rhythm. If you've made it this far in the video, melody, harmony, rhythm, because those are the ingredients we have to work with as musicians. Thanks very much for watching this video.